Hey class, was more of a review than anything. We're going to look at the second floor framing now. Not the framing, excuse me, the second floor ceiling. We did the main floor ceiling and hopefully found that was relatively simple to do. We're going to do the same thing with the second floor as well. Everything needs ceilings. And these same principles you apply when you're putting on things like the softening for the exterior of your roof and getting those to go. So we'll add those in as we go, as we start cleaning up the little incidentals that need to be complete in order to finish your design and to have a set of working drawings to submit for building permit. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to first go to our upper lower floor line, our second floor in the floor plans area. And you'll notice that we've already completed the framing for this floor, but we didn't put the ceilings in. So I'm going to go into my properties. I'm going to scroll down to the underlay area, and I'm going to remove the lower level. So I don't need to see that for this. That'll clean the drawing up a lot. And now I still have these section cuts we did for our wall sections. Those need to remain. Now, if they're troublesome, you can hide them in this view because this will eventually become a ceiling. And so then right click on those and just go to hide in view. And so they're not. Now this one kind of goes through the whole house. So I'm going to leave that one. And it is extended out there to make way for the dimensions that we put in. But these won't affect what we're about to do. So let's go into our architectural tab and our ceiling. As a reminder, we're using a gypsum board ceiling, a 1/2-inch gypboard. And it's set to automatic. Now the roof line, the ceiling line on the second floor is not the same as it is on the lower level. So let's go look at our section cut real quick to remind you about that, so you understand what's happening. So when we come in here, let's take a look at our level elevations here. So your lower level, your main level, the ceiling height on there is just shy of 10 feet. But if we come up here to our second floor, and we are not seeing our upper level dimensions, so let me bring those on. They've been hidden. I'm hoping they're hidden. Let's see if we can bring those back. They are not hidden. Interesting. We need to find our upper level top plate here. So we're not seeing it here. Let's jump to the front elevation just to make sure where everything's where it should be. There we go. A little easier here. So you got about 10'1" for your top plate on your main floor, and we're up another, looks like another 9 feet. Well, yeah, about 9 feet, 8 maybe. Your windows are at 7 foot above your lower level, so that's not quite right on that. We got a little bit of a problem here, my friends. So if this is your upper low floor lines at 11, 1.5, and our windows should be 10 feet above that, or 7 feet above that. Sorry, the top windows are 7 feet. Let's do a little measurement here and find out just exactly what is going on. We're at 8 feet for those windows. They are too high. So we're going to make some adjustments here. Now, we've done the roof and we've done a whole bunch of stuff on this house. So whatever I change here is going to drastically change the way this house looks. So I need to drop a foot off of this. So I'm just going to double click here on the text for the dimension. And I'm literally just going to change the 9 to an 8 and enter that in and lower that window down. Now that should have hopefully brought down everything else along here. Now the bow on the windows here, that could go above. That's not uncommon to do that. But as we look across here, I want to make sure that these windows here are mounted correctly. So we got a seal height of 5 feet, and those are 4020, so plus 2. So I take the 5 plus the 2, and we're at 7 feet. So those windows are fine where they're at. I am going to have to look at my other views here, my other elevations, to make sure my windows did not get adjusted. So it looks like what may have happened, looks like those are good, and it's not uncommon for me to do this either from time to time, is I may have done my math wrong. All right, now, if that's the case, and we want to look at our distance here from our top plate to our floor line, it's about 1.5 foot. So take the 11 7/8 is where our sits right on our this is sit on our top plate, and so we got to set our ceiling height of what that's going to be. So we have a 10 foot here, and typically your second floor is going to be an 8 foot ceiling, so about 8'1" actually. So if I measure and come up to this point, we're at a 9'1". So again, I'm about a foot tall there. We've got a little bit of an angle going on there, so it's giving me a little different value. So I'm going to drop a foot out of this value as well, this level indicator, and that's going to take the 20 to a 19. So I'm just carrying that number through and letting that lower down. That will pull the roof line down on there, and that's a little bit more appropriate for what I'm wanting to create. So that sets my top plate. Then the height of your roof is going to be based off the pitch that you choose to do your roof. And we do have a code that we have to be aware of, so I might as well check that here as well. That from your finished grade to the highest point on your house, you are limited to 35 feet, and we are 26 plus or minus there. So we're in really good shape on that, and that's a good thing, because if we get too high, then we get into fire issues and can't get a ladder truck to where it needs to go. So that's going to work out just fine, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it at those values. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and close these views just so there's not quite so many tabs floating up. I'm going to go look at my section cut, and now we're ready to know where this wall is going. So I'm going to check my wall, and it is going to the upper level top plate. Plus, I've got a problem. It's got an extra 3'8". Now, we hopefully have talked about this in class prior. There is not an offset on that upper level. So I'm just going to drop that down and lower it. And that's a fix one roof. But if I go to my below floor line, that's the only wall I've changed. It's just that one wall. I think I said roof a minute ago. I've only changed one wall. So all of these views and the walls in this view, if I go and get all instances in this view, they've got that offset is varied. And so I've got a little bit of a problem I need to fix out here. Now, because these are different levels, I'm not able to change them all as easily as I'd like. But I can go through and do a control, press the control key, and then select, that's a window, and select the walls that I want to adjust. And so I'm just going to go around and pick each of those walls. And again, usually I like to use the select all option, but I've got a little bit too much going on with this plan, and so I'm just going to manually do it. It's a good exercise for you to go through anyway, just to know how to select multiple things without anything there. Now, those all have that 3'8" offset. Just going to zero those all out. It's just to make things work a little easier in my section cuts to not have to deal with those. And so once those are all set, I can go look at my section again. You really won't see a change there because we did the attach to the bottom of the roof line, which makes things easy. But I do want to make sure I get a ceiling in here. Right now, there's no ceiling line. So if I did a measure here where my walls are, just to kind of verify again, about 8'2". So if I place my ceiling at that height, it's going to be really good height for my upper level. It's also going to be less air to heat and cool, and since that's where my sleeping areas are, it works out great. Okay, now let's check the interior walls. They should be right where we want them. So now we can go back to Architectural tab, Ceiling, and again, you want to check your values periodically. Make sure things don't go off a little bit somewhere. It's just a good idea. Now my ceiling is set for 9'1", which is my defaults. I'm just going to change that to 8'1" and put that there. Even though I've now got 8'2.5" to the top plate, I am not going all the way up per se. I'm going to the bottom of where the roof trusses are sitting, and I'll adjust that in the section So I'm just picking a number that is lower than my highest point of my roof, um, or my wall line, and then lower than the roof line so that I can place that. Now again, it's automatic, so I just have to make sure I select each room and I pick them each one time, and it will chime telling me that, hey, you've that's kind of odd that I've gone over an area and been selected. So then do that area over the stairway. And there's one that I'm not quite sure what's going on right in here. So that has me a little concerned. So this will pop another one in there just in case. All right, now I am going to cut a section through this area because I want to see what is going on with that. So what we're going to do here first is going to check the section I have. And there's my ceiling right there. And notice it's just down just a little bit below. So if I go ahead and select each of those, and I'll just go back in the upper level and right click. Oops, I let go of it. I let go. So it's there, upper level, right click, and I select all in. Oops, let me do it. That is not happy. It's not happy. It's got the wrong roof to do that with because I'm not cutting through where I can see. All right, well, this have to do it the hard way. It's not that hard. We're just going to select, use control again. See, it comes into handy to know how to do multiple ways of solving the problems. I'm going to change that to 2.5, maybe. No, those chimes are when my keyboard is not cooperating. And we'll apply that with the little enter key. Looks like it's going to glitch me a little bit. Got some things going on there. So let's go check. So I'm too high. That's the problem. I can't go up that high. So if we our math is failing us, we're going to do the old-fashioned way of just graphically fixing it. So I could go back into the math, and to do that, you then do a measure, and you then go from here to here. It's 1 inch. So when you look at your height, if I make that 2 on that ceiling, oh, sorry about that. That keyboard just doesn't want to hold that highlight. And I apply that, now I'm right where I want to be. It's just a half-inch difference there because the ceiling is going down, the roof is going up. And so just to make that. Now, I can do a match properties, which is always good. That's over here, right underneath the scissors in the edit. I can take that and then match sometimes. Should be able to, but ceilings are a little different. So we'll just go back in here. Sometimes what you want to do doesn't work. Well, here's the other way you can do it. You can do a line. Lines work really good. Get that edge and that edge. And the line, again, it's my favorite tool. I know others have different tools of preference, but it just solves a lot of problems really quick when other things won't work for you. Okay, so get that cleaned up in this section there. And like I say, I want to find out what's going on right through here in this area. Now I do have this section that's kind of just hanging out, but I'm just going to put another one in this view just to give me a quick view. And I may go ahead and delete it once I figure out what's going on here. But if it's something unique, I may need to keep it in order to explain what's going on in this view here. So here is what's happening. So I had to build out, there's the one wall. So let me go back and kind of look at what's going on here. When we came through, we got this wall here, and then this basically dormer pops out here, and we've got this little guy here. So we've got, that's my floor. My floor does not go out right, so that's kind of interesting. Interesting on that. It did not, the floor is not going where it's supposed to. So let's go ahead and edit that while we're at it. So edit the boundary. And I'll just go ahead and pick my walls and pull that around so it fixes that real quick. Now that should be one ceiling. Let's go back to the new section. And because I put in two, this wall right here is, let's see if I can find a way I can show that to you where that shows up at, is an extension. We can go here to the front view. Is we have this, we took the gable up and over, and the wall it's looking at is back here, where we added a wall in to fill in that void between the two offset walls. We added in a little piece there, which is really, I could have done that, and it's off a little bit. I need to maybe redo that. I have this wall here that is split and has an opening in this area, and then it sits across a beam that's going to be right through here. And what I did is I just added this wall into that area, and that wall isn't even the right conditions completely for what's going on there. So we added the profile. Okay. It says show where that outline is. So that outline comes to the inside of this roof, or this wall here. That's why you had this extra triangle. So that wall, which is way bigger than it needs to be, it's 20 feet high. I'm going to drop that down to 7 feet. And just because it doesn't need to be that crazy. Actually, go down lower than that. Let's go down 5. There we go. That way it's not quite such a crazy wall. And it's just to patch in this hole that otherwise exists. Okay. Now, when I put that back in there, it would be nice if this wall and this wall, if I can get those to join, that would be really nice. And I don't think that quite worked. So I'm going to have to look at that a little bit because it's going to throw the graphics off here a little bit. The other thing is I can take, I think I did get that. I'm going to do that. If I take this wall here, if I split it and then pull the bottom up to where it needs to be, I could have done that as well. It was just another option. We'll look at that as another viable solution when we go through this house in class. But you do have to fill in these gaps. And so there's always more than one way to do anything in a class. So now I've got my ceiling going on here. Let's see if we can go back to our upper level. And the cut that I'm using right now is here. So if I go to the new one I added, which I'm going to take out, this and this don't match. So there is that slope going on there. It's going to come down here a little lower. I'm going to go ahead and leave that because it is a special condition where this wall is built in. So when you get inside the house, if I go ahead and put on the fine level detail, there's going to be a little bit of a change over here on how that's insulated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ceiling, I'm actually going to go down a 1/2 inch, which is a little different than what I normally would have do. Usually you're always going up as you fix things, but this one to bring, oh my goodness, then bring down, get my keyboard to cooperate and apply that. Now it's down lower. So I'm going to take this, go back to my upper low floor line. I'm going to edit that boundary, and it's right down here. And I need to bring it over to where it lines up here. So I'm just going to take this edge, I'm just going to stretch it up to there. And then I'm going to check that off and go back to my section. So I'm almost to the right spot, a little bit off. I need 1/2 inch more because that's the thickness of my drip board. And so I'm going to wrap this around that built-in area at the boundary again. And I'm going to do an offset to fix that because I don't want to get super crazy trying to make it perfectly mathematically right. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take copy off, just pop it out and check it off. It's a little quicker. And now I'm all with just a little bit of a drop in the ceiling there, a little bit of an edge, which will follow up the rake if it's a vaulted room, which I haven't decided yet or not. Probably should be in this area. But that'll fix that detail. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do on this upper low floor line, that is pretty much it. But I do need to check, make sure the ceilings are correct in these other areas. And to do that, I want to go into whatever section views I can find. Let's see, did I set this one? I don't think I've set this per se. Yes, I did because I cut through the stair. I can't move this anymore because I've set it in. So once you've set what your section cuts are going to be, I'm going to have to add a new one. And so here comes the new guys, just to get me to where I can see what I need to see in order to fix it. And we come up in here and we can see that we are a half inch too high. So we're going to make that change. And this one's kind of going 2 inches. So we'll drop that down as well. That goes there. And I'm going to bring the detailing up a little bit. Now I would suggest, if you can, spend some time, add your top plates in so that we can tell what you're looking at in each of the views. It will help you keep track of things a lot. It just really does make a difference when you put the detail in there. And we'll go there. At least until you get familiar with what you're looking at on there a little bit. But the more detail you add, the better it's going to look, and the more concise it is. You'll have firms that will require that you show the blockings and the framing. And there's my flooring going underneath there. Okay, I'm going to go back to my upper level one more time. I'm going to slide this because I need to check this area and make sure I've got every room kind of accommodated and accounted for. So we'll go a couple times in here. We see we have another one here. And I'm just going to go ahead and control and grab these others. Make sure if they're all the same, then I can change them all at once. 0.5 there. Just so it's consistent. Now if you're vaulting ceilings, that's a different thing. We'll look at that if any of you decide that's what you want to do. Because those are done very differently. One more cut. Let's move it up one more. And we're looking in the middle area, which is just this guy. Now this one, I'm just going to do a quick align, go to the bottom of the ceiling here and bring that one down to match it. And so all my ceilings are in the right place. All right, that is your upper level ceiling plan. Super important as we move into finish up the electrical now. All right, guys, let's get to work and finish this thing up. We're getting close. Looks like I'm missing some frame. Oh, it turns the other way. There it is. So, all right, we're looking good. Okay, take care.